On July 20th, the mass shooting that occurred at a theater in Aurora, Colorado shocked the entire public. The sole suspect, James Holmes, shot into the audience during the film The Dark Knight Rises, leaving 12 people dead and 58 wounded. After the shooting tragedy, arguments on gun control heated up in the United States. This week's Across America Talk will bring together guests to discuss gun control. Hello everyone, welcome to this week's edition of Across America Talk. As usual, today we have two guests with us. China Daily's columnist Mr. Chen Weihua and veteran journalist Joseph Boris. Welcome both.
Thank you.
You know, after the mass shooting in Colorado, people still seem very scared and are talking about the critical importance of gun control. Tell me, Joe, were you scared when it happened?
I would be remiss in saying I was shocked or stunned by the events because unfortunately mass shootings of this sort in the United States have become commonplace, not only in recent years but going back really 15 or 20 years. So it had been some time since the most recent previous mass killing. But I was not surprised. Saddened, yes, full of grief for the victims, but I can't say I was surprised.
Well, please be honest with us. Do you have a gun at home?
Let's say this. I comply with all gun possession laws of the city and state of New York, where I live.
You do have one?
No.
Okay, so Weihua, what is your take on this issue?
Well, I see the whole picture, is seriously wrong with this country. Even I'm a foreigner here. You know, number one is this country has 300 million people, but it has 283 million guns among its civilians. And it's the highest among the gun ownership. The ownership rate is highest among any country in the world, and definitely among the developed countries. And also the homicide, related to the gun, is also very high. It's like 10,000 people being killed every year by gun violence, not suicide, not including the suicide rate. So that means like every day 30 Americans are killed, murdered by someone. And so this is astonishing,
As we know, the recent massacre in Colorado isn't the only tragedy happened in recent years. We can still recall the 2011 Tucson shooting, the 2007 Virginia Tech massacre, which reported 32 dead and 17 wounded, and the Columbine High School massacre, in which a total of 12 students and 1 teacher were murdered. And now similar tragedies still continue to happen. What do you suggest that the situation will become better, Joe?
Well, first of all, there needs to be the space within our political culture to begin a dialogue on the matter of gun violence. And I would start with gun violence, even before we get to gun control. What are the factors that are causing this kind of violence? For a time, going back to the 90s, we had a series of workplace shootings, including U.S. post offices, for reasons that have been open for debate. Then it became more commonplace to have shootings on college campuses. Now, for all the American public knows, maybe the movie theater or similar public places are a target. It's important that we open up the space to have a discussion as a society about what it is in our culture that is driving individuals to commit these heinous acts. But unfortunately, as my colleague Weihua said, we're not even seemingly inclined toward that kind of debate at this point, because politicians have managed to shut down even the prospect of such dialogue, even before it has a chance to get started.
After the tragedy, U.S. President Barack Obama made a speech. He specifically mentioned about the AK-47 in his speech, and he said, quote, I believe that a lot of gun owners would agree that AK-47s belong in the hands of soldiers, not in the hands of criminals. They belong on the battlefield of war, not on the streets of our cities. Does this show a clear attitude of the Obama administration?
Well, I think what's interesting and noteworthy is what the president did not say in that comment, which was that he was inclined to go beyond the already expired 1994 assault weapons ban, under which AK-47s and similar pieces of mass killing machinery were outlawed. He said he would favor a reinstatement of that ban, but made it clear that he was not inclined to go beyond that into any other prohibitions, which shows you that even a president who is arguably a liberal Democrat, I would dispute that description of him, there can be no real open dialogue regarding new efforts at gun control, even for something seemingly obvious as assault weapons.
Mm-hmm. So, Wei Hua, can you tell us something about the gun control in China?
Well, in China, of course, this is like a total ban of gun ownership. I think, except in some minority areas, people are traditionally love hunting, I think in the China-Russia border areas or in Xinjiang. So, but I mean, there is a minimum gun ownership. China, I mean, actually, it's not just China. All over Asia, like Japan. Japan probably has the lowest gun ownership among all the so-called rich nations. I mean, basically, there is no gun in the hands of civilians. And the same for Korea. That's actually the homicide rate related to the gun in Asia is the lowest in the world. And for the U.S., it's one of the highest, actually. The only country that beat U.S. is some other nation in Latin America, will be higher. I'm just astonished because, why people want so many guns at home. This is not a failed state or war-torn nation. Why you need guns? This is a country ruled by law, right? I mean, why people can have such an easy access? Like James Holmes had to have 2 guns, 2 rifles, and 4,000 or 6,000 rounds of ammunition. That's crazy. A lot of people say that it's not gun killing people; it's people killing people. Come on, if you make it difficult for people to access the guns, it's less easy. It's more difficult to kill so many people with powerful weapons. So I think that make a strong argument.
All right, Wei Hua and Joe, thank you so much for coming to our show, and thank you for watching. The discussion of gun control doesn't seem to be over anytime soon, but our Across America talk will continue to see how it goes.